I'm going to share something with you that may seem that the opposite is true, but your vulnerability, your ability to be vulnerable, to show up raw and authentic, is not a weakness. In fact, it is one of the most powerful things about you. And the people that find discomfort with that, the people that can't handle that level of openness, they are telling you everything you need to know. And not about you, but about them and the connection that you share. If we haven't met, I'm Shonnon Nicole, and I guide midlife women through their becoming, through releasing what no longer fits and reclaiming their birthright of well-being, beauty, and soft abundance. And today we are going to be talking about why showing up vulnerable, being raw and authentically open is one of the greatest strengths you will ever have. I was speaking with someone the other day that asked me, how do you show up in a relationship and make it work without being vulnerable? And I flat out said, you can't. I mean, it's not something that is possible in a connection that you want to be deeply rooted in reciprocity, in balance, in a deep, fulfilling knowing that the relationship is worth having in your life. And what I try to get them to understand is that vulnerability is not a weakness by any kind of means. Your vulnerability is actually an invitation. It is an invitation not only for you to trust in yourself that you have the ability to surround yourself with the right type of people that you can be vulnerable, open, raw, and honest with. It's also an invitation for others to put down the armor, take off their own mask, and show up in the connection as their authentic self. I am pretty much an open book, and so I have no issues with sharing parts of myself, of being completely honest about reclaiming my sensuality and about self-pleasure, about leaving a 20 plus year marriage, about how I used to overfunction, overgive, overperform, how I abandoned myself. And I also have no issues with sharing how some days I just feel that I really suck at motherhood. But with all of that sharing, there are boundaries. And it has nothing to do with shame. It used to. It really did, because I had such a big fear of being judged. But now it's energetic protection. There are some things that I still hold very sacred, and I don't share those pieces with myself because I don't deem them necessary to show up authentically. Trust me, if people know something that I've shared, it's because I wanted them to know. Because vulnerability without boundaries is bleeding on people that didn't cut you, or bleeding in front of people that are circling sharks. Because real vulnerability is intentional. It is powerful, and it is chosen. When I started showing up authentically and I stopped hiding, I realized almost instantly that I had gained so much control and power over my life to reclaim my well-being and the peace that I had allowed others to take. It was seriously undeniable. When you start to acknowledge and embrace your needs, your wants, your desires, and your emotions openly, it makes it extremely hard for others to spin a different narrative, because a manipulator is going to have performative vulnerability, which is basically them giving you an apology so they can regain control of the situation, not because they're genuinely sorry. I discovered that the power that I felt they had over me was really just their insecurities in a disguise. But your vulnerability, it reveals their true intent. It reveals their lack of respect and their lack of reciprocity in the connection. You stop adapting to their curated emotions. You stop performing for their comfort. You suddenly see things so clearly. I am not going to lie or sugarcoat this. I had some very strong reactions from people when I decided to be vulnerable, when I expressed my needs, when I expressed what I wanted and the boundaries I was setting to make sure that I received what I needed and wanted. Because showing up like that, showing up raw, open, and honest, is scary as hell for people, because what it does is it turns a mirror back on these people and say, okay, in order to be in this connection, for us to have this equal give and take, you are going to need to be just as open, honest, and raw with me. And a lot of people cannot handle that. They will have to contend with the fact that they are wearing a mask and that you most likely see through it. There are people that have built whole identities on wearing a mask, of having this full set of armor, and you showing up vulnerable and raw and open is going to make them rethink and reevaluate how their mask, how their armor has blocked them from many other things that they actually want and desire. But here's the thing, that is not your problem. Being open, vulnerable, and authentically myself was ultimately an invitation, not only for myself to trust in my ability to surround myself with people who could handle my multidimensionality, who could handle my shadow, my light, my wholeness, fullness, all the different facets of myself. But it was also an invitation for them to put down the armor, take off the mask, and know that they were in a safe space. Your ability to be vulnerable is an invitation for connection that is not based on performing. It is the difference between saying, look at how perfect I am, and here is who I truly am. Are you able to meet me here? And most won't. But that is the gift, because the ones that do, they are your people. Once I realized how much strength it actually took to be vulnerable, to show up not perfect, unpolished, to do things that seemed weird or too much or unconventional, I stopped fearing what others would think of being judged or criticized or even disliked. If a person doesn't have the willingness or capacity to understand, to relate with, or even at the very least say, I don't agree, but I'm willing to hear your perspective on that, then they are not my people. And I start to adjust and edit the connection accordingly. The energetic shift that happens when you stop hiding is not subtle, it is very seismic. You start to reclaim your power. You start magnetizing in the right connections. You stop performing and stop trying to make people comfortable with a version of you that doesn't even exist. Your vulnerability isn't your weakness, it's the thing that they actually can't control, and that terrifies people. Your vulnerability is a power. Use it. And if this resonated with you, I would love to hear in the comments. Also, if you are ready to stop hiding, to stop shrinking, to stop performing, overgiving, overfunctioning, all the things, and really step into your becoming, the link to work with me is down below.